I'm Lynette Rail, a developer at Cornell University working on the linked data for production grant. I facilitate the best practices for authoritative working group. I'm going to talk about the outputs of the first charter of the working group. A core principle of the working group is to include members from different parts of the authoritative data pipeline. The group includes authoritative data providers to improve understanding of how their data is being used. It includes data consumers who represent the cataloging community and other uses of authoritative data in libraries. It also includes developers that access authoritative data APIs and create applications and tools that make that data available to consumers as part of the workflow. The first charter focused on a common understanding of needs by defining user stories from the perspective of each of these roles, defining 32 cataloger user stories, 44 application developer user stories, both from the UI and backend perspective, and 38 provider user stories. Once the user stories were defined, we engaged the broader community in helping us to prioritize the cataloger user stories. We reached out to the PCC community with a survey that allowed respondents to put their stories in buckets, ranking their importance based on their own work. From these, we created 4 prioritization categories based on the ranked level of importance. The labels in the graph are highly abbreviated, but at the end of the presentation, there is a link to the full analysis of the survey if you want to see the details of the user stories. To give you a sense of the user stories, these are the top 5 in the priority graph. Include extended context, that is additional information about each search result that helps the user make a more accurate selection. Filtering search results by class type. For example, searching names limit to person names, filtering out organizations and other types of names. When searching for an exact match, the user wants to know if that exact match doesn't exist. When editing a resource, like a work, that you want to connect to authoritative data, like a subject, the search needs to include the URI for each result. This allows the resource to link to the exact result that the user selects. And for authorities that are hierarchical, include the broader and narrower terms for each search result. With the full set of user stories defined and the results of the survey, we created a document that organizes the user stories. The primary focus is on cataloger user stories. Developer and provider user stories are listed with the cataloger user stories they support. Related user stories are gathered together. User stories related to searching are together. That is, search results for an exact match, left anchor search, keyword search. User stories related to refining results through filtering are together. And user stories related to accurate selection, like additional context or relevancy rating, those are together. And each section also includes the priority that was assigned based on the survey. So this is an example from the document of the section that gathers user stories related to performance. Within this section, it further breaks into directly related user stories that impact performance. For example, the first subsection under performance is search results return quickly. Since it rated as a level 1 in the survey, it is marked as having priority level 1. There's a fuller definition of what we mean by search results return quickly. Then the cataloger user stories are listed, followed by supporting developer and provider user stories. The next subsection, which is time out gracefully, again with a priority definition and user stories. This is the basic pattern that we follow in the document. First charter is complete. We will soon be starting the second charter and we'll be focusing on change management for authoritative data. We'll work to produce documentation on common types of changes in authoritative data, create specifications on how best to represent those changes, and make some recommendations for tooling that providers can use to create change documents and cache maintainers can use to consume those documents. We're in the process of identifying members for the second charter, so please do express your interest if you would like to help move this work forward. I've included links to the output of the first charter and to the main page of the second charter. Feel free to reach out to me if you want to learn more about this work or become part of the working group.